48 hours with the Neo, and Apple didn't just drop a new affordable laptop, they dropped a problem. The MacBook Neo is not good for MicroSlop or any other brand who are trying to target the affordable Windows space, because the Neo is just way too good and craps all over those Windows machines. Wow. And man, what a difference between macOS and doing a new Windows PC. Whew, this any day. My immediate reaction with build quality and the color profile of Indigo is just a chef's kiss. Not only does it not display any of your finger marks on both the top and the bottom, but it's just a very beautiful color to look at. The wallpaper also matches the color of your Neo, a very Apple touch. It is a little bit slippery though, the feet are not as grippy, and so this thing tends to float around. Despite the much lower price point, the hinge is absolutely flawless. Typical Apple fashion, can open it with one hand no problem, and there's like a certain level of refinement around the edges where things are completely crisp, but nothing is like too sharp and everything just feels right. Like the hinge doesn't even wobble when I'm hammering away on the keyboard. Now the price point is definitely crazy, but it's not a true Apple experience if you don't have the Touch ID sensor. So upgrading to the 512 plus the Touch ID is definitely recommended in my opinion. It is the lack of keyboard illumination that is a clear sign of cost cutting. The good thing is that the keyboard is lighter in color versus the body, so they're easier to see. During the day, this is fine, but during the darker hours, the spill from the screen is not enough to, let's say, illuminate everything on the keyboard properly, so you just have to rely on finger memory here. It would have been so good if the upgraded Neo came with illuminated keyboard as well. Both USB-C ports can be used for charging, but the headphone jack is cleverly positioned to the front, so if you have this thing on your lap with a cross-legged position, the headphone cable does not interfere with comfort of your legs. Now the headphone jack here is plenty powerful. I'm listening to music at 50% volume with these HD5 and so there's lots of headroom to spare. The speakers, unfortunately, are not great. They're not horrible, but they're not great. This is one of the easiest products to recommend and also to review because it does not overstep with Apple's rest of the lineups, especially with the Air. It's not an Air replacement. This is way more affordable and it can do way less at the same time. So let me show you what this thing can do and what it can't in my own workflow around the studio. So first of all, I love the ability to connect an external monitor to the Neo. 4K, 60 Hz, no problem. Single cable, it's charging the computer at the same time. It does occupy that fast USB-C port, so if you have any other storage connected to it for video editing or photo editing, that's gonna be running at the USB 2 speeds, which is not great. But here, this is where we start to encounter the hiccups with performance because we're running on the A18 processor, not the M stuff. Here, for example, I have a fairly late Photoshop project open and like zooming in, there's always a little bit of that delay. It's not instantaneous and it's not as smooth and snappy as what we were experienced with like the M1 and beyond. Let's head into Lightroom now. And so this is a very intensive program in terms of resources. So it's not very friendly with the Neo's hardware. You cannot expect the same M-like performance from the Neo, especially with Lightroom. Like for example, choosing any of our looks from the left panel here takes a while for them to actually load, especially here when we apply the denoise feature from Lightroom, which is actually really powerful. It takes 1 minute per photo. That just tells you that you should only expect light creative workloads from the Neo. Also switching from Lightroom back to Photoshop, you can see there's a bit of a hiccup. Jumping into DaVinci Resolve Studio, and I have my Sony 4K files in here with a grade applied. Nothing heavy, but still, I can scrub through the timeline. Zero issues. Everything's playing back no problem. Even when I play back this, we are at 30 FPS, full smooth performance. So the fact that you can edit video on the Neo, which is basically an iPhone in terms of performance, is pretty incredible. The screen is fantastic in this price class. The trackpad, I would say, is a downgrade versus the Air, but it's still plenty fine, responsive, smooth. Unfortunately, I think there's something wrong with my trackpad. Listen to this. It sounds like there's something hollow underneath the left side of the trackpad, while everything on the right side feels fine. There is like a pre-travel that definitely has a little spacing right underneath there. Just in this corner. Everything else is fine. The webcam on the Neo is not super high resolution, but this is what it looks like. I think they do a fantastic job of trying to balance out the exposure, especially with bright sources behind me. That I set up on purpose because that would fall apart on most Windows laptops immediately, but this is what it looks like. Also impressive is this microphone. Clear, no trying to bring out background noises. The only thing is that if you start to type, all those keystrokes are going to be audible, quite loud. So just don't hammer on the keyboard during calls, you know? Of course, we have the option to use our phone as a webcam. This is what that looks like. I'm not a huge fan of the crop factor, but you can definitely tell there's way more depth behind me because of the larger sensor and way more detail. Just for reference, here's my gaming computer that costs over $2,000 when brand new. This webcam definitely is sharper, more resolution, but look what's happening with color. Like I'm almost gray. It doesn't handle exposure balance that well. And I would say the microphone on the Neo is way better versus what this thing is recording with. And the biggest flex with the Neo is really how fluid things feel. Like I can open all the apps in my tray over here. Zero hiccups with how fast things open. For me, this is my communication machine. Just because of the instant wake up, we have no noise. You just kind of grab and use this thing, either on my desk here or on the couch. Just like with the M1 previously, I use this for script writing religiously. I also wanted to try this thing where we open all the apps on the air. Let's see, I think it's like 56 or 59 applications. I tried to do something similar with my Windows machine. It was at 18% power. For some reason, it died. Okay. I think we're there. All 60 applications have opened. The thumbnails are kind of getting updated here and there. But the fact that like I can go into all the applications, there's no lag with my cursor is absolutely insane. I was at 22% battery and now I'm at, let's see. Now I'm at 17, so that's actually used up a significant amount of battery. Let's see if a video playback is like actually decent. Okay, all right, well, it has to load. Okay, we have 60 applications running in the background. Take a chill pill. It's working. Let's see, can I scrub? Ports has been always consistent. That is insane. It is surprisingly decent for games too. I'm playing Escape from Tarkov. I'm noticing like slight hiccups here and there occasionally. Oh, let me just get this guy. I would not necessarily gravitate towards this anyway because I use the Steam Deck for any of the light gaming, but the Neo is capable of running some games. For games like Potato, which is stupid fun, it runs flawlessly on the Neo. Even Hades 2 is playing perfectly fine. I'm not noticing any frame drops, and this is plug and play. So the Neo experience is actually quite decent when it comes to gaming. I mean, we're in such interesting waters with the Neo. Nobody expected this from Apple. Like the fact that it's so affordable, it feels so good in the hand, it feels good to use. It's also so repairable. If you've seen teardowns of this thing, it's actually super impressive how everything is just screwed in, nothing is glued onto the chassis, so things can be replaced easily. There's also a very popular thermal pad mod that you can do with the Neo that's supposed to improve temperatures and also performance significantly by utilizing this entire bottom casing as this giant heatsink. It makes the bottom hotter, yes, but if you're looking to squeeze out a little bit extra performance out of your Neo, then make sure to check out tutorials on how to do it. It's very simple. Obviously, there are compromises here, so if you are thinking about an illuminated keyboard, better trackpad, better performance, better speakers, then yes, move up to the Air. Otherwise, if you're just looking for something for like your daily computing needs, email, documents, student work, etc., light creative applications, light gaming, because this thing handles light like it's nobody's business. It's fantastic. You open it up, it's ready to go. Battery life is rated at 16 hours, and I've had this now, 48 hours plus. I have not needed to recharge it yet. I'm very glad to have this on my desk, and I'm sure many people are going to love the Neo as well. So let me know in the comments below if you're thinking of picking one up. I'm Dmitry. I'll talk to you in the next video.